Hey, good morning, YouTube. What's going on out there? Thanks for checking in to all the YouTube peeps. See what's going on. Hope everybody's had a good week and close this one out successfully today. Remain unscathed going into the weekend, hopefully. So what's going on out there? Hey, we got Bug Out Bubba with us. Good morning. How's it going? Looks like we're having some nice weather. It's warming back up here today, tomorrow. I think it might start raining here shortly after, maybe tomorrow evening or something. But we got close to 90 yesterday. But got some rain across the Nebraska, Iowa, New Northeast. I don't think there's anything terribly cold up there in the Rocky Mountains yet. They had a little bit of rain, but I don't think there's any snow this week up there yet. But it's supposed to be coming. So everybody have something to look forward to there. So, but first off, I guess this just happened in the South Pacific, Middle Pacific, Indonesia. Large earthquakes overnight, and I believe there is a tsunami ensuing like right now. I'll have to get a link, see if anybody else has put it up yet. It just popped up on Twitter. Large tsunami on Celebes Island, Indonesia. And of course, catastrophic damage is recorded. Don't this from my Twitter over. We'll take a check that out if I can find a link sooner rather than later. A lot of things going on, and then this pops up. But there's your local weather. We'll see if we can get this hurricane info picked up. But this is the earthquake stuff. I'll look up tsunami while this is playing.
.5 magnitude earthquake has struck up. Powerful 7.5 magnitude earthquake has struck off the coast of Indonesia, prompting a tsunami warning. The quake was recorded near the island of Sulawesi, which is north of Palu City. The earthquake came on the heels of several other tremors, including a 6.1 quake that killed at least one person, injuring 10 and destroying homes. Indonesia sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire and is prone to earthquakes. This summer has been particularly active and devastating, with a series of earthquakes in July and August that killed nearly 500 people on the holiday island of Lombok.
Well, that was a pretty short report. But let me still working on this tsunami side of this. Says here shortly after the tsunami early warning system used a tsunami alert for the area surrounding the epicenter. Other official agencies did not issue tsunami alerts following the trembler. That might be to their detriment, seeing as how we just here's some of the earthquake videos still. After effects, I guess, debris in the street, etc. Okay, here's the tsunami footage. Some place I could find it is on Twitter. Back this up. Let's see. And I just linked it on my G Plus and on my Twitter. So Tsunami looks like the follow-up's fairly destructive. That video, of course, is hard to make out too terribly. But at the very beginning, you're looking at it like, where's the tsunami? You could see how far it had ran out the tide. Let's see, we'll replay this. That's all just barren sand. It's where the ocean should be. It's hard to tell from the videos. Like, is that the ocean, or this is all still open, and then the white part of the front of the wave starts coming in? You can see all the earthquake damage previous to, like when he turns around, there's a mosque down, and then this building right here is collapsed in the very front, and then the wave comes in. That is bad. Let's probably not see what the effects are later, I guess. Man, that literally is like 8 minutes ago that posted on that site. We'll continue forward. We'll try to check back in on the tsunami before we get out of here, but that doesn't look good. And that's just one anecdotal video. So, what was I going to talk about? So that literally just popped up, and we'll have to. But links are below. I'll link the Twitter into the below as well. If anyone wants to look that up and catch up with that. I have to change my information. It goes back to the story of the disaster. On top of the disaster, you have a bad enough earthquake, then you get hit with tsunami. Doesn't really get much worse than that. Because any building you could escape to that has multiple floors, that might be able to get you above the tsunami might be too damaged to get up into. Because everybody runs out of the building usually after an earthquake, then you have to run back in. It's like the perfect trap. What was I going to talk about today? Man, I wasn't hit up on the fiscal side, economic side. This SEC, not the Southeastern Conference, but the Securities and Exchange Commission, put out a indictment on Musk. It's kind of big news. It's going to be big news around here because the Gigafactory, and there's so much money sunk in around here from Tesla that this is concerning on the local front in particular. But the investigation of fraud charges came out last night, and then this is the headline this morning, that he had pulled out on an agreement with them at the last minute. So of course they went after him hard then. So that's kind of concerning about what could be happening there locally. Really nothing's driven the local housing market and economy more than Musk bringing in the Tesla Gigafactory, and a lot of other things that complemented it went along with that. So this could have major implications unless the board of the company just disassociates itself with him completely. I guess it's one of those wait and sees, but it is funny that they were willing to work with him, and in the settlement, he wouldn't have been, there was no like crime associated or anything, just a fine, and then he backed out of that agreement apparently, and then they go after fraud with him for fraud. And apparently part of that is tied up to a tweet he sent out, like speaking about going private. So maybe looking at selling stocks or buying stocks based upon that tweet, maybe the accusation. But the settlement also would have barred him as chairman for 2 years, and Tesla would have to appoint two new independent directors. So that was probably too much to swallow. So he didn't settle because it says he was not truthful to himself, and he wouldn't be able to live with the idea that he agreed to accept a settlement. So, I mean, if you're not guilty, you're not guilty, right? If you settle, you're just admitting guilt in most people's eyes. Or you're just rich enough to get away, you know, and move on and move past it, not worry about it. But we'll see how that works out. It's an interesting story on the local front that may have national ties, but in particular around here, that's going to be looked at for a long time. His eccentricity is getting the best of him. The 10-year bond is kind of creeped back down from 3.1 as we continue to wait for the days of the collapse. So let me check in here. I guess I should check in on the side chat. I have negated my duties. Tommy Boy Bug Out Bub was with us. Midwest Prepper, hey, good morning. How you doing? You'll keep your occasional tornadoes. I don't know. Tornadoes kind of come out of nowhere and are surprising in any way, but it would be rough in any case. Toxic Threads, good morning. Thanks for checking in. I've got that video pulled up. I was going to talk about that. I'll hit that first thing off. Aaron Cox with us. Good morning. Cheers. I don't know. Can you do cheers with coffee? I guess you can. Walter Davis, good morning. Oh, Midwest, I didn't even think about that. That's what happens when you try to take over space. They come after you. They don't want you revealing all their lies. Is that the implication, or is it just because there's so much wealth on all those asteroids, they don't want anybody getting the lead on the government? It's a good point. So if anybody didn't see, Alicia Clegg was removed from the YouTube yesterday morning or Wednesday evening, whichever. But since she's in the chat is Toxic Threads, go check out that link. She's moving a lot of stuff over to BitChute, so she doesn't have a link. You didn't put a link in the video to BitChute, Alicia, but there will be one. Where would they find the link to BitChute, Alicia, since you're out there? But this is where she's going to be posting a lot of stuff on YouTube, is on this channel, Toxic Threads. It's kind of like her old backup. It's going to take a lot of work to get rebooted up. But if you follow Alicia, or if you don't know who she is, go check her out, because she talks a lot more eloquently about these things than I do, about the social undermining of society and cultures and other things. But it's pretty good stuff. So that video's in there. There's a link below to this video as well in the description box to Alicia's video about getting unpersoned. She pulled it up on the cell phone. Is like, where did I go? So I wanted to put that out there for anybody who didn't see it, or because if you didn't follow her on Twitter, you wouldn't know, or if you weren't on G+, you wouldn't know that she was removed, because YouTube doesn't tell you, hey, one of the subscribers, one of your channels you subscribe to is gone. And you didn't get an email, correct, Alicia? You didn't get like you violated terms of service or 3 strikes or nothing. It was just gone. Which is all the more concerning. It's not like there was any notice of you or a violation of, Empire Order 782 or anything. anything like that. But I do want to put that out there. We'll put out some reminders during the weekend as well to catch everybody that may not be aware of what to do. We might have to find the time to do a maybe we can do a chat, Alicia, get you in. I know you were in Modwing's chat yesterday. Or wait, I guess Modwing's chat, you were still Alicia, weren't you? You hadn't been, that was Wednesday. We'll have to set up a fundraising chat or something, a subscriber chat to get everybody back on board. So everybody's seen the debacle that's going on at the in the Senate disaster, just total sideshow. We've boiled down to somebody's vague memory from 35 years ago being defended by a calendar from 35 years ago, which I don't believe any of it. But I found this interesting. And it's funny, but well, I shouldn't. Let me go to. People are actually defending Lindsey Graham now because he came out and said some emotional words yesterday, which is even more concerning. But then the American Bar Association came out last night or early this morning. It was actually last night because I read it before I went to bed. This article from USA Today, it looks like, was catching up. And they're calling for an FBI investigation into the allegations. So of all people, the bar should know how jurisdiction works, right? They should know that, you know, the place where the incident occurred is the jurisdiction that has the authority to investigate and charge. And they're trying to get that. Oh, and it's just if the American Bar's in it now, I'm almost on his side. I'm almost like there's more to this than what's going on. It's very interesting that the Bar Association of all people, who are nothing more, well, we could talk about barratry and bikes and bullets, long diatribes on the black robes and the unholy alliance of lawyers and the whole legal system. But yeah, if you'd think they would know how their own rules work, but they don't follow those. So I found that very interesting that they were wanting to investigate this whole debacle when they were just on the eve of the vote, which I think should be going down right now. And it's only going to get worse if he does get confirmed. There's already impeachment. It's just like the total digging in for the agenda. Very concerning, I guess you'd say, to see how that debacle turns out. But I don't get too invested in it because don't know that because, well, the Supreme Court shouldn't have that big a say in hardly anything anyway, but they have far too much authority, if you will. But that's another issue, I guess. Catch up on the chat here. Yeah, Alicia's video is backed up. Yeah, Alicia explaining about her channel. All right. So what else we got going on? I was trying to stay away from that. So I was another on the radar topic, the global housing bubble, which more concerning is the local housing bubble in the U.S. Or California in particular, because that bleeds over to here. but the Zero Hedge had an article about the global housing bubble, which is funny when you put it in, well, not funny is a bad word, but when you put it in context, like most of the world, most people don't have a house in, probably when you look at the population numbers, but based upon population, like 75% of the world doesn't live in what most of the West would call an established house. So this is really Western, I would say, in those Western influenced countries. But they have what they call UBS Global Real Estate Bubble Index graph here. 3 years ago, when UBS looked at the world's most expensive housing markets, so again, the West, it found that London and Hong Kong were the only two areas exposed to bubble risk. In just a few short years, the latest report by UBS Stealth Management, which they have a link to, compiles the bank's global real estate bubble index, found that 6 of the world's largest cities are now subject to massive speculative housing bubble. Sounds about right. Now, how do they account for inflation for all this? Because so much of the prices is driven by inflation. Not just like, we're charging more because we can type thing. So if our Canadian friends are out there, and still, while unnaturally low mortgage rates are to blame for the rapid ascent of home prices, investors and offshore money laundering operations, especially in Canada, continue to play a role as their favorite markets of Vancouver, Toronto, and Hong Kong all made this year's list. Yeah, does this graph get any clearer? It's kind of blurry there. It doesn't get bigger. Here's a better graphic. Maybe this will come up. It's got Vancouver as one of the largest bubbles. A predictive Amsterdam, Munich, Hong Kong. The yellow ones are a concern. Yeah. San Francisco and LA are what's going to hurt us over here. Everybody's selling in San Fran while they can and moving over to Arizona, Nevada, etc. So something to be on the lookout for. It's an international, and just like the predictive issue of the sovereign debt crisis, as a lot of people call it, where all the nations, all the governments have all this debt, that's gonna become a global issue. It's not gonna be localized to just Venezuela or Turkey moving forward. It's gonna cause global repercussions when the US and China and all these countries fall downward from the debt. Hey, Liberty for All's checked in with us. That's a good question. Is it Kavanaugh skull and bones? He went to Yale, right? They're voting now. Yeah, I think Liberty for All's a good point, and kind of why I step back and look at it like it's a sideshow, because it's just the two different sides competing for power. The left is just more public and more irrational about the whole thing in the eyes with any perspective. Well, you'd say the other side is more sly in the way they do things, like maybe that's the way to put it. But yeah, the Kavanaugh thing is just gone far beyond jumping the shark, I think, with the way things went down yesterday and when people jumped on board the Lindsey Graham bandwagon. I was like, you got to be kidding me. People just can't see. They want somebody to support their viewpoint or what they consider their side so hard that they even get on board with a guy that they've derided for so. I mean, Lindsey Graham and McCain were the rhino of all rhinos for years. Going all the way back to like as when he ran for president, 08, and now all of a sudden he's this hero. Yeah, probably not. But anyway, here's a more of the global real estate bubble. Hong Kong's looked to be in bad shape. So if you're staying where you are, you're in good shape. If you're not selling, don't worry about it. If you were looking to buy, though, it's maybe we'll hold off a little bit. It'll come back down shortly, the prices and whatnot. Housing prices rising in almost all cities. Fortunately, none of us live in big cities, right? But they do tend to affect us. All kinds of graphs and stuff. So anyway, that chart and that article is below. Let's see, what was we're going to move on to? We'll have to check in, see if this tsunami thing has been updated to anybody's front page yet. Or is everybody asleep at the switch this morning on a Friday morning? Everybody's too focused on DC. Even Drudge hasn't updated. I wonder if they've got an updated story here. Anyway, I think that was about it, what we got going on out here in the side chat. Dad on YouTube, hey, good morning. How you doing? Thanks for listening. Liberty for all. We are screwed. Thank you. Thank you for informing us. Tommy Boy likes the drama. It's like your soap opera, isn't it, Tommy? So this top tweet up here on this site says that Flake's going to vote for him, Tommy Boy. So that means he's going to pass, right? So tsunami footage and images still haven't caught up anywhere. Let's see. Where would I search for that? Non-soap opera, says Walter. All right. So one final thing while I'm waiting for tsunami stories to pop up. Hopefully update here soon. Any video or anything. You get paid way too much to do that story, or talk about epic fail on the zero hedge. Dutch military forgets to buy warm clothes before winter exercises in Norway. At first, I was wondering if this was going to be some like global warming joke where, the Dutch thought that global warming was going to prevent it from being cold in Norway or something. But then that seemed too ridiculous, even for the Dutch. So this starts off with this. No, this is not the Onion. So I guess they're serious. Dutch military officials forgot to buy winter clothes for their Navy soldiers ahead of a winter exercise in central Norway, and now resorted to asking the soldiers to go to buy their own clothes, having forgotten that it can be chilly in the Norwegian mountains this time of year. This is a sad state of affairs. The Aftenposten reports that around 1,000 soldiers have now been told to go to the store and get warmer clothes as soon as possible. after special Dutch parliamentary decision was made to ensure funds were made available. I wish the only concern we had in Congress was if they were clothing the military properly. We end up spending all the debacle money we got on ridiculous stuff. Um, but in the Netherlands, they have a hard time getting the right clothes on them. And you think in here it even talks about it. Uh, the Dutch defense regularly sends Marines and elite forces to winter training in Norway, but in this case, according to Visser, they had not expected to get very cold in Norway late in the fall. Uh, yeah, I guess you could say that. That's just funny. It gets into defense expenditures. Of course, it's zero hedge, so they got to hit up the defense budget issues. The Netherlands actually make this is the NATO countries is right in the middle there. That was just a funny article that I caught this morning that I was just like shaking my head, like what people are thinking. Like people get paid money to do these things, clothe and feed their military, and epic fail for lack of any other word. I still need to look up Indonesian tsunami. Um, 2 hour ago, CBS News tsunami warning video. Half the stuff that comes up is from the years ago tsunami. Okay, that's videos on YouTube. That cell phone video I showed earlier is on YouTube now, so I'll post this over. Let's copy that over, and this is the same cell phone video that we saw at the beginning. Is that not? That's pretty low quality. um, Not seeing any. Just about tsunami warning still, it looks like, with this being the only current video. So Tommy Boy's keeping us updated. They're talking now, and 1:30 will take the vote. 1:30 Eastern. It's like hours away. Hours and hours. Okay, Associated Press via Yahoo. 19 minutes ago. So this is the most current thing we got here. If it loads. Looks like so tsunami swept away houses. So this is Indonesia all times local. 7.5 earthquake causes tsunami that hit a provincial capital, Palu, and another city, Donggala. Make sure we're reading. U.S. Geological Survey said the shallow quake was centered at a depth of 6 miles or 10 kilometers. So this is 8 p.m. at night, Indonesian time. So it looks like they lifted this. This is all. So this is a very brief, updated article. So they haven't really updated that with very much yet. Yeah. Hey, good morning, HRM. How's it going? Let's see here. Where else could we find such news? The search terms are very limited on this. All right, Washington Post 20 minutes ago, same as the Yahoo News. Breaking story. Most of the stories from several hours ago still have tsunami warning on it. So when everybody get up on the East Coast, they did all these stories and nothing's been updated. Jakarta. Let's see if they get a video pulled up here. This is Jakarta Post, so maybe it might be reasonably updated. So maybe just that one mobile phone is the only footage they have, it looks like. So they're finally reporting a little bit. There's one reported dead at this time. The Jakarta Post could not independently verify the authenticity of the video, but a Google Maps search of the Palu Grand Mall and Bayraham Mosque resulted in images that matched the landscape and landmarks shown in the video. So, based upon their due diligence, I guess you'd say they can say that the images match what they expected would be a place that should be standing and free of damage. It's not like an old video from an old event, I guess you'd say, which would be the concern. So, an official with the Central Sulawesi Museum in Palu confirmed the event to the Jakarta Post, saying, yes, there was a smashing of seawater, he said before the phone connection broke down. So, that one cell phone video is the only thing we've got at this time. That was probably potentially live streamed, maybe, before the cell towers went down. All right. Well, that's your Friday morning news, folks. Tommy Boy's going to sit here and give us the Kavanaugh sideshow update. And see what happens with this tsunami. They're upgraded it here and this says a 7.7 magnitude earthquake. And the initial story that we pulled up this morning, that there was a swarm of like 10. So maybe the magnitudes got confused, but the USGS was reporting a 7.5. So it takes a little time for them to fine tune it and get exactly what the magnitude was by the measurement devices when they compare all the data and everything. And don't forget, go check out Alicia's video on her new channel and on BitChute. Toxic Threads, as she's called her backup channel to prevent any trolls from drifting by, probably. Go check that out. Make sure you sub her back if you used to be subbed. And if you weren't subbed, you should go check it out and sub again. So did you just put everything on download last night, Alicia? Are you downloading a bunch of new stuff to this channel? Or your old new stuff, I guess I should say? Or are you just putting only new stuff on it? Are you putting all your old good videos on this channel as well? Or I guess I could go check it out. This channel doesn't have any content. They already shut you down, Alicia. Okay, you haven't updated it yet. Once you stop dropping videos, you need to let us know. She may have already checked out. She might not even be out there anymore. But that's where Alicia is at. I wonder if everybody's holding out on the tsunami story until they can confirm that alert and that video. Everybody's probably afraid of getting catfished on that tsunami video. Nobody wants to report fake news. Irish says today is National Drink Beer Day. Are you serious? I thought I thought it was in October. So it's not to be confused with National Beer Day. This is National Drink Beer Day. So it's separate, right? Tommy Boy says there's nothing happening. Check up on us at lunchtime. Well, except the one truck that drives by, right? You saw that? Yeah, that was a first right there, wasn't it? Yeah, that's literally never happened of all the times I've been out and about. People are on to me. Might be the NSA checking up on me. Didn't exactly look like a government vehicle either, though, Tommy. Irish forgot you're watching at the doctor? That's not good. Man, you need to watch a comedy channel or something to liven your spirits up. So you're just reading this. Irish is just reading the side chat. He's not even listening to what I'm saying. So this sideshow will be the story of the day for the most part. We'll definitely have to see what happens with this tsunami story and move forward into the weekend. See what the cleanup looks like or how bad it is. You got Bubba's boxed in by State Forest and the Amish on the other. So the Amish won't defend their communities, you don't think, Bubba? Is that the implication? Are they really that, I guess, the non-aggression principle applies to the extreme with the Amish? I didn't realize that they were that far down. Yeah, I'm kind of with Irish that once people start dying, that people might change their minds on that whole issue. But you never know what's in people's minds. But they're good neighbors to have in the time being. Maybe after the first week or so, they can see the error of their ways, because they definitely are resourceful people that if they're willing to work with you, it would be I mean, they're already off the grid and everything else. Like, they could definitely be a good resource, somebody to work with community wise and whatnot. But yeah, Bubba, I'll buy more guns. I bet they change their minds. Are you buying more guns to help arm them? Is that what you're saying? Tommy Boy's saying the Democrats have walked out. Oh, it looks like we might have a. No, that's the same video being shared on a different Twitter stream of the tsunami. Tommy Boy says, "Start the revolution before you die." Walter says, their gardening practices aren't as bad as commercial growers, but the livestock is in deplorable conditions usually. Really? I thought they all lived in open pasture and stuff. Like, is it that bad? Like, they just got them tiny lots. They don't have large open grassy fields for the cows to just roam. I didn't know it was that bad. Yeah, no new video on that. Yeah, Tommy Boy, true story. If something doesn't happen soon, kids will be working in sweatshops for basically no wages. Is probably a better way to say that. They'll be working for their credits. and they'll like it. They can get in line at the government for government cheese later. That probably won't be disposable income at that point.